Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sachinandan Datto, and in this video lecture I'll talk about the coastal resources of Oman. So in this course, the integrated coastal zone management, in the previous three lecture I'll talk about the marine ecosystem and the different coastal ecosystem. These are the mangrove and wetland. And today I'll talk about the coastal resources of Oman, and this fourth lecture basically the introductory lecture of ICJDM. So let's see first the geography of the Oman. So Oman have a total land area is almost 309,000 square kilometer square, and it has a three border country in basically northwestern part, the border with the United Arab Emirates. Here it's not western part. In the western part you can find the Saudi Arabia. In the western part the Saudi Arabia, and basically west south or southern western part you can find the Yemen. Okay, so this three country is the land based border in basically in the western part. And but if you look at the Oman geography in the eastern part, basically whole eastern part is covered with the ocean. So Oman has a huge coastline, almost 3,165 kilometer long coastline with lots of coastal habitat, along with the huge biological and diversity and different resources. So maritime claims it has a territorial sea 20 nautical mile, contiguous zone 24 nautical mile, and the EEZ or exclusive economic zone has a huge area that is almost 533 kilometers square. So if we look at the in the eastern part of Oman or northeastern part, it's covered with three type of sea, three sea. That's in the eastern part. The whole area is covered with the Arabian Sea. It's a large portion. In the northeastern part or northern part, you can find the Gulf of Oman. It's a huge. It's also a very large area, and little coverage of the Arabian Gulf. That's in Musandam region. Okay, so that three basically main the sea the surrounded the Oman eastern part, but all the three are also connected with the Indian Ocean. Okay, so it has a huge influence of Indian Ocean subsystem. And I have already talked about the total EEZ, almost 533 kilometers square, 1,000 kilometers square. And Oman have a three designated national MPA marine protected area, and these are basically the first one. This is the Dimaniat Island in the Muscat. So Dimaniat Island, it is the MPA marine protected area. In that tip of the northeastern part you can find here the Russell Herd. Dimanat Island is very popular for the coral reef habitat, and the Russell Herd in the northeastern part, northeastern tip, you can find the Russell Herd that is very popular for the turtle nesting. In the southern part you can find the Salala Coastal Reserve, that is also a very good important marine protected area. So Sultanate of Oman has a very complex and coastal ecology, and it has a huge diversity of different marine ecosystem. We'll see later, and it's a very complex and dynamic ecosystem, as the Oman have a influence of Arabian Sea and Indian Ocean. So that Arabian Sea brings the two type of monsoon season in Oman. So these are the one is the southwestern monsoon, and there is the northeastern monsoon. Southwest monsoon, basically it's called as summer monsoon during the 4 months of the summer, and whereas the northeastern monsoon is basically the winter monsoon, and it is from December to March. And this monsoon contribute a major nutrient rich water. So during the monsoon time, the nutrient rich cold water basically upwelling happening in this zone, and it introduce a huge nutrient to the system, and that increase the productivity of this particular region, that will enrich the marine communities. beside the oil and gas, so as we all know that oil and gas is the main primary source of income of this country, and beside this oil and gas, the second or the other component for the economic, these are the tourism, fisheries, aquaculture and port services, and all those four basically economic based development is happening in this country, and these all four are coming from this coastal environment. So that's why ICZM or integrated coastal zone management is very much important in the context of Oman. And but the global changes, that's the global climate change, the ocean acidification, the anoxic condition, then different sea level rises, so these all the global changes issue much more affected the coast of the Oman. Now, if we look at the different coastal habitat that is present in the Oman coast, that is the island system. There are lots of island system in the Oman. The intertidal areas, the salt marshes, wetland and mangrove. I have already talked about it, wetland and mangroves, and the beaches. There are long, long, beautiful beaches you can find in the Oman coast. The sand dunes, the barrier island, and coral reef. Coral reef is the most popular and most important marine ecosystem in Oman coast. This ecosystem also gives a this coastal or marine ecosystem also gives a huge resources in terms of different types of resources are coming from this coastal resources. These are the water resources. So what are the water requirement of this country basically coming from the ocean water. So desalination is the main sources of the water of this country, because this is a almost arid area, so there is a means groundwater is very lack, so that's why water resources also coming from this coastal area. And then means in ocean, and the renewable energy, it could be tidal energy, it could be the wind energy. So what are the renewable energies also coming from the coastal area along with the oil and gas. Then the fisheries. So fisheries is very popular in this country because it's a huge production of the fisheries, and almost the highest production in the Gulf country in terms of fisheries in Oman, and it's a huge different species of fish available here. And in terms of biodiversity and wildlife, it is also very rich. In terms of marine biodiversity, it is really rich, from the coral to top level of mammals. Marine mammals like whales is very common in this region, and dolphin whales. And as I earlier talked about it, the oil and gas, this is the main source of the income. That is also almost mainly coming from the land base and also the ocean base. Okay, and the minerals, different minerals, the sea minerals, that are the polymanganese nodules, and the different other minerals also extracted from the can be extracted from the ocean system. And the maritime transport, the ports and harbor, and the marine transport is very important for the development of any country. So, and that is also very popular here, the lots of the ports and harbor that connected this country with the all over the world, with the different countries. And waste management, so in terms of the waste management, it is marine or coast is also important, because all the waste of the influent or the domestic, or it could be the industrial well, this industrial waste, so this all are the waste are basically going to the ocean, and that can be managed properly. And tourism, the coastal tourism is very popular in this country, from the coral reef to different types of coastal based tourism, coastal based ecosystem based tourism, to the marine tourism is very popular in this country. And if you see, the Sea of Sultanate of Oman occupy basically isolated corner of the Indian Ocean. So you can see this is the Indian Ocean, and that has here is the Oman. So it's an the almost the Indian Ocean and the northwestern, the isolated corner, that is the basically end of this Indian Ocean, the isolated corner, and it has connected with the world most varied or world most biological productive water, that is the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean. So these are the one of the most productive area of the world, and that's why this productivity of this region is very high. So in the Gulf of Oman and Arabian Sea, you can find lots of the canyons, trenches, and extreme depth abruptly, and you can find the cliffs, and that can be several kilometers high. So geography, or the coastal geography is very, coastal geomorphology is very dynamic, and very various type of coastal dynamic you can find. Coastal geomorphology, canyons to trench to cliffs, everything you can find in Oman coast. And in terms of biological diversity, it is very rich. We will see later the what are the biological diversities found in Oman coast, but in terms of all resources, it is really very rich. And most of the Oman water lie within the tropic. So but the nevertheless, it's basically coming from the seasonal variability that I have already talked about. The monsoon, two types of monsoon: summer monsoon and winter monsoon, and that the main climate influence of this country is basically the winter and summer monsoon. Okay, that's winter monsoon is characterized by relatively gentle and variable. So winter monsoon basically relatively calm and gentle, but the dry northeast wind, and that is basically called as a samal. Okay, and this wind occurs between the November to April, the winter monsoon, and leading to modest increase in productivity. As I already talked about it, that during the monsoon season, the productivity of this region is increased as the nutrient rich waters come up, and the current that flow to the southwestern part. And if we look at the biological diversity of Oman, so that's an IUCN 2000 old report, but it's important 2009 report, and it's almost all the biological diversity that can be land and marine, but you can separate the marine here separately. So land based, it's a huge plant diversity is almost 1200 species of plants are there, but we talk about the marine system. So there is 4 species of seagrass. There are the microalgae, almost 300 species of microalgae. Phytoplankton is almost 182 species of phytoplankton you can find in Oman coast. And it could be arthropods, could be marine arthropod or marine, basically marine arthropod, almost 400 species. Mollusk, 60 species of mollusks you can find. Corals, very important, 253 species of coral you can find all over the Oman coast. And in terms of cartilaginous fish, almost 83. Bony fish, huge diversity, 900 species of bony fish you can find on one coast. Then herpetofauna, that's are basically amphibian reptiles are called the herpetofauna, amphibian and snake and lizard. And marine turtle, very important, 5 species of marine turtle we will see later on. Okay, birds, it could be coastal bird and the land-based bird, but the bird diversity is also very good, 500 species. Mammals, marine mammals is very important here, the dolphin and the whales. So these are the large marine mammals you can find in the coast of the Oman. Okay, so almost 1500 species of fish and crustacean you can find in Oman. 5 species of turtle we will see later on. Also 130 species of coral reef. Mangrove, almost 1000-hectare area, but the mangroves are the patchy and it's everywhere, almost all over the coast of Oman you can find the mangrove here and there. Wetland, we have already talked about it. Two wetland, Kuram and Alansa. Kuram means basically the coastal wetland. Thousands of marine birds, the groundwater also helping to coming from the coastal resources, and the beaches, the long beautiful beaches you can find in Oman. And in terms of coral reef, I have told again, coral reef is a very important ecosystem in Oman coast. So there are basically 4 principal areas of coral growth. And so this is the tip of the north or northwestern. You can find the Musan Dam, very important for the coral reef. Coral reef are very means huge diversity, and the coral area is maximum in this region. Musan Dam very popular. And in the capital area, that is the Dimania, Thailand, Island, and that is also one MPA. And you can find this Masira Island and Hickman. So this region is also rich in coral, and in the almost the southern part you can find the Mirbat and the Haliat Island. So these four, basically 1, 2, 3, 4 regions of coral are very popular in Oman coast. And five species of turtle, I have already talked about it. So five species you can find: the green sea turtle. Green turtle is basically inhabitant in the coral reef ecosystem. If you go to the Maniyat Island or anywhere, you can find the green sea turtle very commonly. Hawksbill also find in the coral reef ecosystem, and loggerhead you can find here, and olive ridley and leatherback you can find. They are coming for nesting in the Ras Al Had region very often. Okay, so but this all the five species of the turtle are above the endangered. So green turtle endangered, hawksbill and the leatherbacks are critically endangered, and loggerhead and olive ridley are endangered. And protected areas of Oman, as earlier I have talked about it, that there is a 3 MPA marine protected area, but except this these are the designated MPA, but except this MPA there are also different protected area also. So Dimaniyat Island, it is also protected area as well as MPA. Koram is a protected area. Then the Dhofar region, that the Salala, this region you can find it is also protected as well as the MPA. Russell Hud, it's very popular for the turtle nesting. Then these three are basically land-based protected area. So among except these three, the government is also declare 18 region as a protected area. So among these few are also marine, okay, and few are also land-based. And threat to the Oman coast, so we have see the lots of the resources now. These resources are now facing lots of the threats. So major threats are coming from the oil pollution, because here oil and natural gas is huge, so it can be a biggest threat. So oil pollution or oil spill. Urbanization, due to the regular development and growth in the coastal region, so lots of the construction and urbanization has happened, rapid growth in this coastal region, so that urbanization is really hampered. Just a common example, Russell Harbor, that is a very good popular turtle nesting, but due to lots of the hotels are coming, so as a tourist destination it is improving and it's increasing, so that's why lots of the hotels are coming, so construction are going on, so that's urbanization is also hampering the coastal ecosystem. Then over harvesting, so it has a huge biological diversity. It harvests means all the biological resources from fisheries to invertebrates and others are unsustainably harvested, so that says over harvestation or over harvesting is a major threat to the coastal ecosystem. Then the chemical pollution, all the industrial effluent or the domestic effluent directly goes to the ocean and may be treated or not treated so properly, so that is increase the pollution load of the ocean or coastal ecosystem. And the coral of sand mining, that is also one of the biggest threat. And the erosion, due to the global climate change, like the sea level increases and the sea erosion in the coastal region is also biggest threat. And the siltation, due to the lack of the proper flow of the water, the siltation is also a threat. And the eutrophication, Oman is very popular for its the red tide or the algal bloom. So seasonally, once its algal bloom is there, and due to this eutrophication, and it can be harmful when it's the harmful algae or eutrophication is happening. So that during the red tide, it's also hamper the biological diversity as well as the coastal threat. So lots of the species also die due to this eutrophication. That could be a red tide. And so how we can protect our beautiful Oman coast. So coastal resources of Oman we can protect via the marine and coastal resource management. Whatever resource we have already talked about it, how we can manage it. So proper management is very important, so sustainably manage in terms of ecological and social and economy, we have to taking care all the components. Okay, then protected area management, you we need to improve our protected area management and protected area means declaration. So we need to means declare lots of the area as a protected area. Then the water resource management, as we talk about it, all the resources water means coming from the ocean, so how we have to manage properly the water so it does not be a wastage. Okay, and land-based resources of marine pollution, the influence that are going to the ocean, that should be properly treated, scientifically properly treated before discharge in the ocean. Then the trade and environment, so we business is always required, economy is also required, but along with the business or trade or economy, you have to consider the environment. Okay, so and multilateral environmental agreement, so there are lots of international treaty that can be improved the coastal ecosystem. Like one of the is there the you can lots of the different international treaty, and it could be multilateral that can be improved the coastal ecosystem. Then the energy management, and then the cultural heritage management, whatever the coastal area related any cultural heritage zone, that we should also be protected. And the community based management, that is very important nowadays. If the community wants, they can manage, so it is not the responsibility of government, it is also responsibility of the community and the civil society. They also have to come in forward to protect these beautiful coastal resources. And just a common example I'm giving in my mangrove lecture. So mangrove is very fragmented, and here and there everywhere mangrove is there, but mangroves are much more degraded in Oman coast due to the lots of the different reason, like one of the reason grazing. So if we minimize these things via the community base, that could be a good approach for the management. And ultimately our goal of this course is also that is the integrated coastal zone management. Whatever you are making, it should be integrated. Any things means it could be socially viable, economically important, and also ecologically sound. So ecology, economy, and social, these three terms also included whenever you go for any kind of management practice. Okay, so that's all about it. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. If you have any queries, just comment me. Thank you.